Luca looked up instantly, sensing the shift. Later, Grace said softly, smoothing his hair. We're building. Gabriel hesitated, then nodded. It was a small thing, but it mattered. That night, Gabriel stood in a warehouse near the Hudson, the air cold and heavy with steel and oil. Across from him, Marco DeLuca shifted nervously. You're losing control, Marco said. People are noticing. Gabriel's eyes hardened. Say what you came to say. There's talk, Marco continued, that your weakness has a name. The word echoed like a gunshot. Gabriel stepped closer, his voice low. You will never say her name again. Marco swallowed. They won't stop. Gabriel already knew. Love was not just a vulnerability. It was an invitation. Grace didn't mean to overhear. She was looking for Luca's jacket when she heard voices from the study. They'll use her, a man said. She's not involved, Gabriel replied sharply. That's not how this works. Grace stepped back, heart pounding. She didn't need details. She understood enough. That night, she packed a small bag. When Gabriel found her by the door, she didn't look at him. I can't be the reason your son gets hurt, she said. Gabriel's chest tightened. You're the reason he's healing, and that's exactly why I have to leave. Silence stretched between them. Then Luca appeared, clutching his train. Grace got? He asked, voice small but clear. Grace knelt, tears blurring her vision. No, she whispered. Not forever. But even she didn't believe it. It happened the next morning. A sharp crack shattered the air as Grace stepped outside the building. Glass exploded. Security swarmed. Grace was pushed to the ground as bullets tore through the entrance behind her. She heard Gabriel's voice raw, furious, calling her name. Hands shielded her. Bodies moved. Chaos erupted. When it was over, no one was hurt. But the message was clear. That night, the penthouse felt like a war zone without smoke. You should never have been outside alone, Gabriel snapped. I was leaving, Grace shot back. Like you wanted. He froze. That's not what I want. Then what do you want? She demanded. For me to pretend this isn't dangerous. He stepped closer. I want you alive. She laughed bitterly. Then let me go. Gabriel turned away, fists clenched. You don't get to decide that alone, he said. Grace stared at him. You don't get to cage me just because you're afraid. The words cut deep. For the first time, Gabriel said nothing. Later that night, Grace sat on the floor outside Luca's room. The door opened. Luca padded out, dragging his blanket. Bad men loud, he said. Grace opened her arms. He climbed into her lap without hesitation. You stay, he asked. Grace closed her eyes. Gabriel watched from the hallway, unseen. In that moment, he understood the truth he had been avoiding. This woman wasn't just a guest in his world. She was family. The next morning, Gabriel summoned his inner circle. She leaves, he said. Under guard. A murmur spread through the room. And anyone who follows her, he added calmly, answers to me. There was no debate. Later, he stood with Grace at the elevator. I don't want protection, she said quietly. You already have it, he replied. Their eyes met, unfinished words hanging heavy between them. The doors closed, and Gabriel Russo realized that power meant nothing if it couldn't keep the people you loved safe. Grace's apartment felt smaller than she remembered. The walls were thin. The heater rattled. Sirens wailed outside like a reminder that danger didn't disappear just because you walked away from it. She unpacked slowly, placing Luca's forgotten toy train on the windowsill. She told herself she was relieved, yet every night, she caught herself listening for footsteps that would never come. Across the city, the penthouse fell silent again. Luca stopped laughing. He ate less, slept poorly. The train stayed untouched. Grace, he asked one night, eyes glossy with confusion. Come back, Gabriel sat beside his son's bed, the question cutting deeper than any blade. She's safe, he said gently. Luca turned away. Gabriel's world did not slow down for grief. Meetings resumed. Decisions were made. Orders were given. But his attention fractured. He missed things. Small things at first late arrivals, unusual glances, whispers that stopped when he entered a room. Then something larger. A shipment rerouted without his approval. A trusted lieutenant avoiding his eyes. Gabriel felt the shift in his bones. Someone inside his circle was playing a dangerous game. It was nearly midnight when Lucas screamed. Not cried. Screamed. Gabriel rushed in, finding his son shaking, breath short, eyes wild. "Bad men," Lucas sobbed. "They take Grace." Gabriel froze. "Who told you that?" he asked carefully. Luca clutched his blanket. "Man on phone. Said name." Gabriel's blood turned cold. Someone had used his son as a weapon. That was unforgivable. The traitor didn't deny it. Marco DeLuca stood in the warehouse, hands raised, eyes defiant. "You've gone soft," Marco said. "She's a weakness." "She's a person," Gabriel replied. Marco scoffed. "Not in our world." The silence that followed was absolute. When Gabriel spoke again, his voice carried finality. "You endangered my son." Marco paled. The consequences were swift but not cruel. Gabriel chose justice over rage. And in doing so, drew a line that could never be crossed again. Grace sensed it before it happened, the feeling of being watched. The car that slowed near her building. The knock at her door came too late. She ran. Down the stairs. Into the alley. Heart pounding. Hands grabbed her arm. She screamed. Then, enough. Gabriel's voice cut through the chaos like thunder. Men scattered. Grace collapsed as he reached her, strong arms steadying her trembling body. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I go where my family is," he said. They sat in a safe house, quiet except for the hum of electricity. Grace wrapped her arms around herself. "This never ends, does it?" she asked. Gabriel shook his head. "Not unless I change everything." She looked up sharply. "Can you?" He met her gaze. Yes. For the first time, she believed him. When Grace returned to the penthouse, Luca froze in the doorway. Then he ran, straight into her arms. "I knew," he said fiercely. "I knew you would come." Grace held him, tears slipping free. Gabriel watched, chest tight. This was no longer about survival. It was about choosing the kind of man and father he wanted to be. That night, Gabriel stood alone on the balcony, city lights flickering below. Power had built his empire. Fear had protected it. But love was demanding something far greater. Behind him, Grace's laughter drifted from Luca's room. Gabriel closed his eyes. Tomorrow he would dismantle everything that threatened them. Even if it meant burning his own kingdom to the ground. Dawn broke over New York in pale gold. But Gabriel Russo did not watch the sunrise. He stood in the center of his private office, removing the symbols of a life built on fear-burning ledgers, encrypted phones, signed orders that once decided who lived and who disappeared. Each flame felt like a confession. Each ash, a release. His inner circle watched in stunned silence. "I'm done," Gabriel said calmly. "Anyone who stays answers to the law, not me." Some left, some stayed. But the empire, as it was, ceased to exist that morning. Freedom never comes without resistance. A rival faction made its final move desperate, reckless, loud. Grace heard the chaos from the living room. Shouting, running. Sirens in the distance. Luca clutched her leg. Gabriel burst in, blood on his sleeve, not his. "We're leaving," he said. They moved through the emergency stairwell, footsteps echoing. A final shot rang out. Glass shattered. Grace shielded Luca instinctively. Then silence. It was over. They reached the courtyard behind the building, breathless, shaken. Luca began to cry, not in fear but exhaustion. Grace knelt, holding him close. Gabriel looked at his son. Really looked at him. At the child who had survived loss, silence, and danger. At the woman who had walked into his world with nothing but kindness and undone him completely. His knees hit the pavement. Hard. Grace gasped. Gabriel. He didn't care who saw. He took Luca's tiny hands and pressed them to his chest. I failed you once, he said, voice breaking. I won't ever fail you again. Then he looked up at Grace, eyes wet, unguarded. You saved my son, he whispered. You saved me. For the first time, Gabriel Russo did not stand above anyone. He knelt. Grace's heart pounded. She saw the man he had been. She saw the man he was choosing to become. You don't have to kneel, she said softly. Yes, he replied. I do. She took a breath. I won't stay if it means losing myself, she said. You won't, he promised. We build something new, together. She looked at Luca. He nodded solemnly. Family. Grace smiled through tears. Yes, she said. Family. The cafe on 47th Street buzzed with quiet warmth. Grace poured coffee while Luca colored at the corner table. Gabriel stood by the window, no suit, just a man. The past still existed, but it no longer ruled them. When Luca laughed, the sound carried without fear. Gabriel watched, heart full. Power had once defined him. Now love did. That night, as Luca slept between them during a thunderstorm, Grace felt Gabriel's hand find hers. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For showing me how to kneel, he replied. Grace squeezed his hand. Outside, the city continued to roar. Inside, they were safe. Together.